Now, a very important lesson I learned about painting the figure and painting the human head was that there are no thoughts that you should have while you're painting certain body parts. And so I like to call it spots. So think of painting the nose as different areas of this space. Don't think of like, okay, I got to paint a nose because this is how a nose is to be painted. So if you're looking at the reference, there are going to be so many different color variations and so many different changes on someone's nose or under their lip or the actual lip that you're not going to be, if you zoomed in on a micro level, you're really just painting an area. You're not really actually painting a nose or a lip or a chin or a cheek. So as I work on these lips, I'm noticing that, okay, I'm seeing some value changes. So you can do value in spots. For example, I see, okay, right here in this little area, for some reason, this is a little bit darker than everything else. So I'm not completing the painting. This is not where you finish the painting. You're just like, okay, this is dark. Let me put a dark spot right here. Or this is light. Let me put a light enough spot right here. That way, when you get back into your next layer, your eyes are looking at the reference like, this is why this makes sense. And I'm gonna move around the brush here, and you're gonna see what I mean by, let me paint a little spot right here and then paint a little spot right here because it's the same color. I just moved up. Gotta get my hand out the way. There it goes. I just painted a very bright spot. And it's okay. It is okay. The ear. Very taken for granted spot. And remember I said we're painting spots. You can't push the painting forward everywhere else and just forget about other spots. As you see, I did a little bit of line work with a small needle around there where it curves. Where I see some shadows, I put some blue. Where I've seen some other shadows, I put some green. Just to test out, in these early stages, which color is going to look like a better shadow. And in this particular painting, I decided that green would look better. So I stuck with the green, and I'm going to paint over that blue by the end of the painting. But the same thing with this ear. I'm painting spots, I'm painting value, I'm painting color, I'm painting tone. I'm not painting an ear. Okay, it's light right here. Let me place some light right there. Oh, it's kind of red right here. Let me place more of my reddish tone. And since I'm using the same few pigments of paint for this portrait, it's the same couple of colors. It's the same thing. I got it all mixed all over my palette. So I'm keeping it very simple. Okay, let's have a look at these values. See this line right here and this little area right here. You see how that's too bright? That's a little too bright. That's is off, but it's a good lightness, but it's just off. So you can just, these are spots. These are areas. You can just lightly glaze some wet over some of the dark to make it darker. You can paint completely over the light areas that where it's too light to make them darker. You can make some areas lighter. It's just you have to look at these paintings and be willing to develop them over the course of all of these layers. This painting took hours, 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 hours. I threw up some yellowish highlights using the Indian yellow hue. That way I can maintain that bright, bright, bright highlight, warm tone on his face throughout the painting. Because remember, every color you use makes its way through, as long as you're not putting too thick of a paint on top of it. So this is really gonna light this face up. And I'm doing this in spot. I did the yellow in spots. Just, all right, let me put some yellow here, let me put some yellow here, let me put some yellow here. And it's just, even though it's not done, you still see it. It's warming that face up. And clothing is something I pay more attention to when I'm doing figure painting, because figure paintings have the tendency to, the figure's body kind of becomes really interesting. But in portraits, most people just look at the face. So I'm going to purposely hold up my palette and show you that I'm just using this green, the terre verte hue, and the ultramarine blue, and I'm doing it very wet. And where I'm dark at, I'm just using a little bit more blue, and where I'm a little lighter, I'm using the green, the verte hue. And I'm gonna, like I said, it's included in the PDF. So for this shirt, I'm basically using those three colors: the green hue, the ultramarine blue, and my titanium white. And I'm going really wet, and I'm blending them all into each other. But I'm painting this in sections, so that's a section a little bit lower than that. Everything's a little like not a color by number, but I'm just painting it in little bitty sections and spots. And I've pushed this portrait so far, I don't want to lose the shirt. I don't want to be too far ahead on the face. That way when I go down to work on the shirt, it's like it needs too much work. You kind of want to keep the overall portrait the same consistency, because what'll happen is you'll get, how I said, I don't want to focus on the clothing too much. The clothing will look bad. You don't want it to look bad. That's why some portraits, the ears look bad. Or it's like, man, why is his nose like that? Or why are the fingers like that? Those are three consistent things I see in bad portraits. It's like they spend so much time worried about the eyes that the ears don't look correct. And same thing goes for clothing. I'm just painting this lightly and just glazing in some spots. And I'm using a flat brush for this, by the way. I'll let you guys watch the rest of this. This is basically the end of this section.